Okay, it's a pleasure to see you all here. A big crowd this afternoon. My name is Joseph Roman. I'm from Bell, Vietnam, a language school. I teach English there. But I've had over 40 years of experience in business, in research, in manufacturing, in sales and marketing, and working for universities. I've worked for international companies most of my life, French multinationals, American multinationals, British multinationals, and Singaporean multinationals. I've had a lot of experience recruiting young people like yourself into their first job or into careers, and also advising young people like yourself on pathways into MBAs for their future career development when I was admissions director. So what I want to do today is just give you some tips and some advice from my background that will be helpful to you at this time in your career when you're considering your career options and you're going into considering a placement activity. Okay, let me just tell you a bit about Bell. Bell is a language school. It's a small language school in District 1. All the teachers are native English speakers, such as myself. The classes are small. They're always less than 12 students. We're a Cambridge examination centre. We're a specialist centre. We deal with businesses, chief executives, coaching them to a higher performance, and people like yourself who are considering a higher qualification in the IELTS or the TOEFL, so that you might want to study overseas, and also for people starting their careers who are looking to get practice in their interview skills and preparing their CVs, so that they're more confident in themselves and better able to perform during the interview. Okay, so it's really about you that I want to talk and give you something that will be helpful to you. If you're considering a placement activity, then I say well done to you, because I think for those of you who do get a placement, you'll look back on this time as probably the best decision you ever took in your life. It will really give you that career lift. I've recruited many people into work when I was in employment. I was an admissions director at a university and also head of various departments. And I can tell you from my own experience, my own view, and nearly every employer I've ever worked with, that employers value experience far more than qualifications. Two students, two young people with the same qualification, or even one with a higher academic qualification, but one with more work experience, the work experience wins all the time. So that's the tip for you. The problem is, how do you get work experience, particularly at the beginning of your career, and that's always a problem. Well, let me tell you that for work experience, everything counts. It doesn't matter whether it was paid work or unpaid work. It all counts. So working for your family business, maybe working for a charity, doing some work unpaid, working for your own business. Maybe you had a go at thinking of setting up your own business as a designer, as a web marketer, as a web designer. You've got experience of talking to clients, looking at some cash flow issues, talking to colleagues in a team. This all is valuable experience. Whether you got paid for it, whether your business was successful or not yet successful, it doesn't matter. Okay? Maybe you've been working to help a friend, and even student projects. Student project work counts as work experience. If you're working in a group of people and you're sharing out the activities amongst your colleagues and your friends, and you're working together, you're interacting with each other, you're making decisions, this all counts. So don't think that your work experience only starts when you get your first paid job. It doesn't. So maybe you can go back and look now at the work experience you've had and think again how valuable it can be. What you should do from now, if you haven't started, is create your own portfolio, a little collection of your notes of all the work experience you've had. As I said, paid, unpaid, charitable, families, friends, student projects, and just build it up over the years. It will become your basis of evidence. So when you're going for an interview and you talk about your skills in leadership, somebody's phone. That's not mine, but I'll switch it off just in case I go full. So you're going to interview and you're talking about how skillful you are, and the interviewer says, can we use an example of when you led a team. And if you haven't prepared the answers for that kind of question to give the evidence to support what you say about yourself, you're going to be struggling. Okay? And you will not be able to think of it on the day. The interviews are such pressure that your mind goes blank, so you need to prepare beforehand. So this portfolio will be your evidence, your file of evidence. No one has to see it but yourself. You keep it for yourself. So do build it up. Start now if you haven't. In 10 years' time, maybe you'll have a lot more recent experience. That doesn't matter. Just keep your file together. Only you see it. No one's going to judge you on it. Okay, so that really is valuable experience for you. Very valuable advice as to how to take the best of your experience. And maybe you can go back now and start to look at the things you've been working on. And just start to make some notes. Who you were working with, what happened. The key thing in the portfolio is this. Identify the skill you've been using, whether it's creativity, problem solving, working with people, selling something, solving disputes between people, negotiating. Identify the skill you used. Identify next to it the circumstances you were in. Was this a big decision in a big company? Was this a small student project? Was this your own business? What were the circumstances that you were using this skill? Then identify what did you do? What was your contribution? What was the contribution of other people? If you're working in a team, it won't be always all your own activity. You're always working with other people, but identify what you did. And then finally, what was the outcome? What happened? What was the result? Was it a success? What did you learn from it? So, 4 things: the skill you used, the circumstances, what your role was, and what was the outcome. And just build that record up, and that will serve you for the rest of your career, and you'll be able to send yourself at your best. Okay, that's the bit about work experience and the portfolio. Let me just say a few things about working in international cultures, international companies. You're going to go for placement. You may be going overseas to another country to work, or you may be possibly working in an international company based in Vietnam. But the culture will be very different from what you're used to doing, used to working among. So a couple of things. One, there's something you can do before you start your placement activity. There's something else that you can do once you've started your placement activity. Before you go in for your placement activity, identify which country you're going to or which culture you're joining. Because every country has its own way of doing business. And there are issues quite distinct, such as how do people respect time? If you're going to a South American or a Southern European country, meetings may start half an hour late and nobody minds. If you're going to a German or a British or American company, meetings start on time, and if you're late, it's a real problem. People will not think you're participating, you're not playing the game. In American and British cultures, people are very direct, so they'll say things directly to you, perhaps criticize and be open. In other cultures, they're much more indirect. In Asia, people are more indirect. Be aware of the differences before you go. Another aspect is, do you form friendships before business? Or is it business first, friendships afterwards? Quite distinct approaches. And also that question of touch. Some people, particularly Americans, like to keep a good distance from you in business. Go to Southern Europe and the Middle East, people come very close, physical proximity. And that's normal. So you can prepare yourself for that before you go. You can find the information on the internet, you can find the information on books, you can come and talk to us at Bell, and we can give you some advice on that as well. Okay, preparing yourself before you join the culture. The next thing is what you do when you get there. Well, whenever you get to a different culture, you have to remember to be patient. The cultures are powerful and they're strong, and they won't change. You have to change. You have to adapt. People coming to Vietnam doesn't change, the culture doesn't change. They have to change to adapt, and I had to change to adapt to living here. it's an attitude. If you have that approach, you think, yes, I'm going to adapt, then it becomes easier. If you go and say, I don't like this, I'm not going to change, why aren't you behaving like me, it will be a problem for you. So, recognize that, be patient, learn to adapt. If you can find a friend, make a friend with someone who can help you when there's something you don't understand, where there's a particular problem, that will be very helpful to you. Have a buddy, and someone you can go and say, I don't understand what happened, or somebody said this to me, how should I react? Above all, suspend your judgment. People may say things and do things which seem perhaps offensive and rude. They're not being offensive and rude, they're just behaving normally. But from your point of view, just suspend judgment. Don't immediately take offense. Okay? And then gradually you'll learn to adapt and work within the different culture. One thing I would ask you all to do, being Vietnamese, it's a peculiar Vietnamese feature, is don't ask people their ages. Everybody I go to, they meet me for the first time and say, how old are you? How old is your wife? Okay? The reason you do this is because you want to know how to address me, or how to address another person within your own language. I'm not aware of any other language where that's important. So don't say to people, how old are you? Don't say to people, how much do you earn? How much does your house cost? Okay? Keep these things separate. Other people don't like to answer those questions. But apart from that, I think, go with an open mind, go with enthusiasm, go to enjoy yourselves, and make a record of all the things you've done, because in the next 10 years or so, you'll go back, and that will be your evidence, and that will be the reasons why you will be well in your job interviews. That will be the platform for you to build a career. Okay. I don't know if you any questions on that, or anybody didn't hear what I had to say. I can go over a point again. Any problems? Any questions?
You guys, you can raise your questions in the chat there. We go after. Any questions? Yes.
Hi, Mr.
Hello.
And nice to meet you here. So I just have one question, also my concern. Concern and question. I know that many students is really wanted to change, especially their English skills. Yes, all of us want to improve our English skills, but there are two problems here. The first one is our English education in our university or in our school is not really attractive enough. And the second problem is the English education in some English center is really attractive, but the school fee is really high.
I recognize those two problems.
So I would like to hear some advice from you for not only me but also for the other.
The advice I give to people when I do teaching is that learning English is something you must do every day, a little bit every day. Language is very, very difficult to acquire and very easy to forget. Okay, so a little bit every day will help you. Whatever course you take at the university, whatever course you take at a language school, do something extra every day. Maybe talk to a friend and just chit-chat over coffee with friends in English, or a telephone call in English, or listen to the BBC on the website. If you go to the bbc.co.uk, there's a section there, Learning English. It's all free, and you can listen to people talking, discussing things. It's not just the news, it's things of interest more general than the day's news. But just do a little bit every day. Just get used to living and listening to an English environment. And then you'll just feel comfortable with the sounds, even though you won't necessarily understand everything. The first problem is to feel comfortable when you hear English. So to get over that, oh my God, I don't understand what a word is being said. And gradually you'll improve. You'll improve your oral comprehension, you'll improve your spoken abilities, but you won't notice it because it's a little bit every day. Okay? Do a little bit every day and do as much as you can, as it were, a different variety of sources. So even if you go to a good language school, I would say do something else as well. You don't want to hear the same teacher's voice all the time. You want to hear lots of different language coming at you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Any question? So, question now. Okay.
Well, I wish you success in all that you do. I have to say I was always impressed. I've been very impressed by the students I've met in Vietnam. I've never known another country where people will do degree courses and study Saturday evening and Sunday evening. This is unique. I think you really are good, hard-working students and with strong abilities in the sciences, which I'm afraid in Europe we've lost that ability. So hold on to those skills that you've got and just be patient and just get the experience you can. You'll have a good future, I'm sure.
Oh, thank you so much. Needless to say, your sharing is extremely cool, extremely interesting for all of us here. On behalf of AIESEC, I would like to thank you for your willingness and for your enthusiasm to come here and share with us some many meaningful things. I hope after Mr. Joseph's speech, you can learn very useful tips on how to make a better CV, how to do a good job in the interview part, and learn how to adapt to new environments and improve your career path. So, on behalf of AIESEC, I would like to say thank you to you for coming here today and have us understand more about job placement. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.